Michael Wenslow. This is Howie Shear. We're here for WenslowShear Jazz. And today, Howie's going to give us a little talk about how to approach jazz improvisation. Now, when I was a young fella in high school, I desperately wanted to play jazz. I was looking, at every kind of instructional thing that I could find. I was listening to recordings, trying to put things together. And some of it was just so complicated. Mixolydian, Dorian, Phrygian, and all that. And I really had a very difficult time getting anywhere with it. And of course, a lot of people are in that situation. So Howie here, not just Howie Shear, Dr. Howard Shear, has written a couple of books to help people out when they're in that situation. Jazz Improvisation Simplified, which is going to be basically the subject of this video here today, and the bebop vocabulary. Now, this is targeted toward, I would say, beginning and intermediate players. If you saw all that other confusing stuff and worked your way through it somehow and got to a pretty high level, well, if you listen to this, you still might pick up an idea or two. But it's really not targeted toward you. Once again, targeted toward the beginning and intermediate player. So, Howie, go ahead.
Hello. Again, like Michael said, when he first began, it's no different than when I first began and when you first began. A lot of questions. What notes do I play? I see chord changes, and what do I do? And it's very confusing because being a single line instrument, we're not taught necessarily to play chord changes like guitar players are and piano players are. Excuse me. How do you go about choosing your notes? And when I give clinics, I always hear players play, and they're somewhat creative, but they'll still play notes that don't fit in the harmonies which are coming across their page. Being part of a group, whether it's a rhythm section and a trumpet or more horns, the rhythm section is playing a set of chord changes, and we have to follow along. And so we want to get most of the right, as many of the right notes, I call right notes, or the better sounding notes, that they're playing. This was a very difficult concept for me to grasp until I realized that it was no different than J.S. Bach would be doing back in the late 1600s, early 1700s, where that he would be composing a particular piece and modulating as he went along modulating to different keys as he went along. And when he was writing his melodies would be containing notes of the harmonies that he wanted to accentuate.
Howie, just a little question on that. You say modulating through different keys as you go along, and most of these songs that we'd be playing, jazz standards, big band arrangements, whatever, you look at them, you look up at the beginning of the piece, it's got a key signature there. Okay, you're in the key of F. Well, so what are you talking about, modulating through different keys? It just says F, and it stays F the whole time.
Good question. Key centers in jazz, the key that you start in really doesn't mean much, because like any piece of music, it could be a church hymn, or it could be a jazz song, it could be a country pop song, it could be a rock and roll song. All songs modulate. They change in that they change keys. So you might start in F, but real soon you might be in B flat, and then after that you might be in a minor key like D minor, and then you might go to a key like A major. And you have to change your key signature as you're changing keys.
So even though the key signature stays the same, that's really just kind of a shorthand for the composer or the performer, because most of the B's are going to be flat, so they just put that at the beginning. But then when things change key, that's where you see those accidentals, the naturals or whatever that kind of modify whatever was given at in the key signature at the beginning of the piece?
Exactly. So the key signature you're given to play a particular melody is good for the melody. Once you start improvising, well, then that key signature really doesn't mean much anymore because you're going to have to find other keys in which to play. Like I said, if it goes from F to A, you're going from one flat to three sharps. So you can't play that one flat anymore. You have to adapt to a new key center of A major or G major or B flat major, wherever that new key is. And in a 32 measure song, which most songs are, jazz tunes or standards, keys could change 4 times, they could change 8 times. Very rarely is a song in 2 keys. It's usually 3, 4, 5, 6 or more keys. So you have to be very flexible in going to your different major and minor keys.